With the use of a pumpkin moon medallion, things get awfully spooky really quick. So today, we're going to count down the Terraria top 5 pumpkin moon drops. These macabre items may be dark themed, but they are quite powerful and go a long way in helping you in your quest. Before we get down to the top 5, I want to give a quick shout out to the Spooky Hook. The Spooky Hook has 3 hooks that will grapple out in different places and allow you to move around. So this is one of the most versatile hooks in the game, along with the Christmas hook. Now to the top 5. Number 5. The Raven Staff is dropped by the Pumpkin and summons little flying ravens with strong melee attacks to your aid. What's really interesting is how these little critters actually have a strong attack and can actually wipe out some mobs in quite a short amount of time. Definitely a must-have for a summoner trying to get past the Pumpkin Moon event. And these things will make a difference in boss fights as well. So the Raven Staff gets the number 5 slot, and the best modifier for it is Ruthless. Number 4. The Spooky Twig is dropped by Morningwood and offers you a set of the best wings in game. On par with the Spooky Twig is the Black Fairy Dust. The Black Fairy Dust drops from the Pumpkin, and it gives you the Tattered Fairy Wings, which are as equal to the Spooky Wings, which makes them 2 great wings indeed. Now these are just below Duke Fishron, so they're about as good as you're gonna get. The only difference between Spooky and Tattered Fairy Wings is pretty much a visual display. Number 3. The Bat Scepter is dropped by the Pumpkin, and it fires homing bats with a base damage of 45. This also makes the Pumpkin Moon event a lot easier to clear, and while the bats aren't exactly very homing at first, given a little distance, these guys can actually do some damage indeed. Truly a great weapon for spellcasters alike. The Bat Scepter is something you definitely want to get a hold of before moving on to the next wave, which would be the Frost Moon. The best possible modifier for the Bat Scepter is Godly, and it is an awesome modifier for it indeed. Number 2. While some may switch 3 and 2 around, the Stake Launcher drops from the Morningwood with a base damage of 75, and does some pretty good piercing damage. What's even more interesting, it does extra damage against vampires, you know, the ones in the solar eclipse, so this thing is even more valuable in that regard. Now, the only time you can get the ammo is either during an event or from having the Stake Launcher in your inventory and purchasing it from the Witch Doctor or the Arms Merchant. The best possible modifier for it is Unreal, and it would really shred some face. And finally, number 1. The Horseman's Blade, ironically, isn't dropped from the Hairless Horseman, but rather the Pumpkin. What's really neat about it is that the sword auto-swings as you go along, and has a base damage of 75. Now, a very powerful sword indeed. What makes it even more interesting is the projectiles it shoots, which actually ranks the damage above the Terra Blade in certain instances. How's that for you? This sword's definitely for you if you like taking on bosses, because that's where you're going to maximize the damage for it. Other than that, you're not going to need the flying projectiles against simpler, smaller mobs. As one of the most powerful weapons in the game, the best modifier for the Horseman's Blade is Legendary. And of course, it makes this sword very legendary indeed. So that's going to do it for our top 5 Pumpkin Moon drops. Please be sure to add your top 5 list down below in the comments section. As always, I'd love to hear from you. Be sure to subscribe for more Terraria top 5s coming in the future. And if you have a suggestion, feel free to add it below as well. I'd love to hear from you about that. Subscribe for more videos as well as gameplay and other titles coming in the future. Have yourself a wonderful day, and if not, then just simply fake it. And I will see you again next time.